Heidi ho, my friends. How are you today? This is Lori at the Ladybug Journals. And today, I thought we would put together a new journal. So if you've been following me for a while, or you've seen any of my previous journals, you might remember this little red journal that I had that we took apart. And let me show you what the inside pages looked like. They had this in them. You can watch the video in the playlist down below. It was like this. I think it was like this. And I just could not save the book. There was no way I could save this book. I did try. After we cut it apart, the spine was just a mess. And I tried to save the spine. I've actually got it over here. It's this one. It was an old book called The Immortal Wife by Irving Stone. And I might, put this on the outside of this. But then I thought, I think I want just a little bit of a wider spine, maybe. So I did make myself a different spine here. But by the time I get it attached, I might go on and add this back to it, to give me the original spine on the outside. I haven't really decided yet. I'm still kind of playing. The bottom of this it's a mess. And there wasn't really anything I could do to save it. I could glue, I could use some glue in there. I could cut it off, and make it a bookmark. But I think I'm going to use it in the book as a belly band, along with one of the others that we cut apart that day. I try to save these when I cut them off of books and use them in the book, when we use the books. I don't throw them away. I do try to use them. So what you see me doing here is lining the book up on my mat. Now my mat has at the bottom, it has 1/8 inch measurements down here across the bottom. So I'm lining my book up across the bottom so that I know it's straight. And then this is just bookboard, okay? And I'm putting it down here, and I want to have enough so I know that this can move. So I like to have about 1/8 inch between my books, my book front and back cover, and my spine. So I like to use my mat to make sure that I have that straight. And what I usually use sometimes, and I'm working on my bookmaking table. And as I pull it out here, I'll show you. I use an old piece of bookbinding board that I saved just for that. It's just a little thin piece, and I'll put it in there. And it's the same width. Oops. And I'll line it up like this. And I'll push this up against it. Now you have to be careful that you're not scooting things around, and you have to make sure everything's straight. And then I pull it out. So I have to make sure this is straight across the bottom. Now, what you see that isn't straight up here, it is straight, but when I cut this apart, but this isn't straight over here, I had to cut all the damaged areas of the book off of the edge. Okay, I don't need you, but I want you. Okay, so this is, for me, this is the most time consuming, because it takes me a couple of minutes to get everything lined up. There we go. Now, once I get it lined up, I put my tape on it. Now, today, I'm just using my clear duct tape. And I think you can see that in the camera. I can see it, so I'm pretty sure you can. And to keep it from sticking after I use it, I just folded a piece of it on here. And I just go down the edge to make sure. Okay, and duct tape does not want to tear today. Of course, it could be because my hands are so cold. It is. I looked out the window when I was drinking my coffee, and it was actually snowing like a crazy man out there. I about dropped my coffee cup. I have to go to the grocery store, and I thought, oh man, I hate driving in the snow. Here we go. And I don't care that it's not straight. It does not make a lick of difference to me at this point. But I do want to cut this bottom piece off. Although it's going to be a pain in my patootie to poke my holes through. But it'll be all right. Now this extra piece of tape, I'm going to fold in half. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to put this up against here. And I'm only going to put the tape on the inside. I'm not going to put it on the outside. I'm going to put this here. And here's what I was talking about, cutting off the damaged pieces right here. Okay, can you see that right there? I don't need that. And that just causes extra bulk. There. Okay. So, I know I want this. Let me make sure you can see what I'm doing here. I want this 1/8 of an inch between here and here. So I line it up 1/8 of an inch. And I want to keep it as straight as I can possibly keep it. Scoot this up here. And I've got a line at the bottom. And I'm keeping it on this line here. And the line up here. This up here. And I can scoot this over. And if this isn't straight, I haven't, put it down yet. I can lift it up. And it doesn't look like it is, so I can straighten it up. Because I do not want a crooked spine. And I can't really tell if it is or not at this point. But we're going to find out here in a minute. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it is. Oops. Darn it. Okay. Moved again. Okay, don't stick to that. Get up off of there. Okay, I'm going to line that back up. Okay, let me put this tape away because he's sticking to everything. Let's turn it over and do it this way. Yeah, this side's straight, so I'm good there. Let's put this there. Oops, I almost put it on upside down. That would not be good, would it? There we go. That's better. Okay, now I know that it's going to open and close, and we're going to be okay. Okay? So I can put this away. There we go. Boy, 1/8 of an inch looks bigger than it really is, doesn't it? It looks really big bigger down here, doesn't it? Wow. Okay. There we go. Okay, now we have a choice to make. What are we going to do out here to cover this tape? I'm going to cover the front because I don't want this showing. So, or, I could have it that way. At this point, it really doesn't matter. But I'm going to cover the front. I've decided to cover the front. And this is the fabric that I chose for the front of the book. I really like this fabric. It reminds me of, denim and things like that. So I'm going to cover the front. So I want to turn it back over here and make sure I've got it. Now I'm going to put you back up a little bit more here so you can see. And you might even get to see my slippers. Okay. And I know it's probably too big, but that's all right. We're going to trim it if it is. Let me get some stuff out of the way here. Now, I am going to need that, but I don't need these pockets yet. And I am going to need these inside pages or covers that I got out. Okay. So, let's line up our fabric here. Now, for your fabric, you only need about 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch. It just depends on how comfortable you are wrapping fabric around a book. Some artists say they use 1/2 an inch. Some artists use 1/4 of an inch. It depends on the size of the book. It depends on how comfortable you are with it. So, there are no set rules in stone. There's nothing really that says you have to do it this way. There really isn't. So don't ever let anybody tell you that there is. Okay? Because there isn't. Because I've got some books that are really, the book board is a thicker board because the book is so big. And I've used about 1/2 an inch seam. Now there are others that I've used that's about hold on a second. My chair scooted and I'm scooting it back. Yeah, you all don't want to hear me go ah as I fall on the floor. There are others that are thin like this because the book was fairly small that I've only used that I've used less than that. So, whatever you're comfortable using, you guys use, okay? Now, I do need my Fabri-Tac though. Here it is. Oops, I'm sorry. I bumped you. Now, in my preferred method of adding this is Fabri-Tac. Some artists use double-sided tape. Some artists use different glues. You use what you want to use, okay? Now, for this book, I want to use, because I have tape, I want to use, let me fold this up here. I want to use roughly, now let me see how big this is. Okay, so I'm good. All right, so I'm going to make my bottom seams about this big. And I know it's going to look crooked. That's because my fabric's not straight. Okay, and I always start with my sides. So I need to scoot this over a little bit. And then I do my long sides. So my top needs trimmed off. So that's the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim my top edge. Oh, let me move my water. There you go, water. And let me get my scissors here. Probably right about here would be good. Okay, I can go in my scrap bin. Let's see if we can straighten this piece up just a smidgen by tearing it. All right, maybe not. This may not have gotten it any straighter, but we're going to find out, aren't we? Oh, no, that's not any straighter. That is why I tear fabric. Okay. Fabric will get you straight at grain, you guys. Just a little fabric tip. All right, so let's get going here. Now, I'm not going to glue the front because I want the fabric to move with the book. Okay? I want the fabric to be able to move with the book. And this is going to be a wiggly. This is going to be wiggly. I don't think I want a wiggly spine. Yeah, this is going to be very wiggly. All right, how about we put... I do not want a wiggly spine. Oh, I haven't put the center strip on it yet. Okay, I'm good. I haven't put the center strip on it yet. I forgot about that. You know what? I still want to move this closer, I think. Let's see if... No, we can't. Let's see if we can move this closer. Let's see if we can take this off and... Nope, not going to work. All right. Never mind. Make sure we've got enough. Oh, I got to cut my corners. Okay, you want to cut your corners. All right, this side's a little bit too long. Okay, the reason that I'm cutting my corners is to decrease the bulk that's going to be on the inside of the book. And I'm going to show you that here in just a minute. Oh, goodness sakes. You don't like taking a break, do you? Okay. All right, so I'm going to put the glue down here. And I'm not putting it all the way the full width of the of the fabric until I get everything where I want it. Okay, so there's that side. Let me scoot this here so you can see what I'm doing. And then we're going to pull this in. Yeah, see, I was excited to just get this out of that bin that I got it out, because they were taking these books that were in the flood. They were taking them to a recycling area, and they were just going to pitch them. And it was like, no, you can't just pitch them into the bin and have them thrown away. That's a shame. I didn't want that. Because into the trash they were going. So I picked out some that were, not as bad as all the others. There were a few that were not savable that, I wasn't going to bring into the house. Okay, so when you get to the corners, you take your finger, you tuck in, and you push up. Just like you're wrapping a present. Now, see, my corner's a little bit too big here. It's a little bit too big. And I'm going to have a little piece stick out. And if I have a little dog ear, I'll take care of it. I'm not worried about it. So over here, this one must not have gotten soaked like some of the others. But some of the others, they must have been submerged for a very long time. Because I brought one home. And I thought, my husband said, why in the world would you bring that home? And I said, well, I'm going to see if I can, save any part of it. Because, it was a book from the 30s. And I just couldn't bring myself to letting it go into the into the trash. But it was just no way I could. There was no way. I even put it in the freezer to make sure the mold was dead and make sure it was, get off my hand, make sure I could get into it, because I'm allergic to mold, and there was no way I could. Every time I touched it, the pages shredded. Every time I tried to do anything to the cover shredded. It's like, well, that didn't work. So, I guess we can't save everything, can we? But I did try. So I did save several of them that I bought. I think that was the only one that I couldn't. So again, this one is a little, I didn't cut this one tight enough. All the others that I bought, I was able to save. When I brought them home, I put them into the freezer in a plastic bag. I have plastic bags that I ship my journals in. Bread size bags that I ship my journals in, and oops, I pulled that bottom too tight. Now I'm fighting up here. And so I put them in there, put each one of them in one of those bread size bags. And if you don't have those are great bags to store things in. And I just let them, there you go. Okay. Now, there we go. So there's our cover. Now, these little dog ears that I told you about. See how this is sticking up here? That is going to make me bonkers. So I'm going to take my little scissors here. And I'm going to trim that like that. And then I'm going to take my Fabri-Tac. And I'm going to come in underneath it. And I'm going to make sure that this is glued down. Like that. And it's going to get covered in a minute. So I'm not going to, I'm not going to cut it real short. And I'm going to do the same thing for this one. I'm going to make sure that it's glued down. And that one is glued down. Okay. And I'm going to come in here and make sure these are glued. And I know I'm getting ready to cover the inside, but I just want to make sure that they're glued like that. Okay, so here's our cover. And it's still a little wiggly, but here's our cover. Okay. All right, so now let's add the insides. Now, where did my strip go that we just had for that? Did I knock it on the floor? Darn it, what did I do with it? I just had it in my hand. Okay, well maybe we're just going to use this piece then. We'll layer that over top of... I just had it, you guys. What did we do with it? Is it stuck to my shirt? Oh, for goodness sakes. What did we do with it? Okay, it's not there. That's twice I've lost that thing. All right, we'll find it in a minute. Okay, so this is going to go here like that. And what I'm looking for that for is I want it to sit on top of this. And I'm going to layer this little strip that we cut off on top of the blue. So as we're flipping through our signatures, we'll see a little bit of this red. Okay, so I don't want to lose this, so I'm going to put it up here in front of me. I just cut that blue. Oh, here it is. Right here. Here it is. Oh, I was wrong. Here's the strip I cut. Oh, goodness. Okay, so I'm going to go on and trim this. So to trim it, I'm going to turn it upside down. And don't assume both sides of your book cover are the same, because I've done that and then tried to put them on and they're not. And it's not that the book covers aren't the same, it's that maybe you didn't cover them the same. Maybe that your front pieces aren't covered the same. Because we know mine aren't. Look, we know mine aren't. So, we know that we want it covered like this. And since it's a plaid, let's maybe put this piece over here. I want to take it from inside here to here, okay? I don't want to drag it onto here. I want to take it to here. See where that creamy white is? That's where I'm taking it to. That's where I'm measuring this from. Right there. And I'm measuring it across the top. Now, if you don't like raw edges on your fabric, you can sew it before you put it down. You can take this piece to the sewing machine and you can sew around the edges after you cut it. You can sew it depending on the type of material that you're using. You can sew it after you get it on here if you want. Like if you're using a paper bag, if you're using a book cover, if you're using other fabrics. I've used all of those in making books, and I've gone in and I need my fabric scissors. I've gone in and, you know, just made layers and layers of fabric and sewn it, but this would be something you'd have to measure ahead of time. Okay, so here's that piece. So now I need to measure my bottom piece. Now once you've measured it for one side, don't change it to the other side. It's kind of like with your signatures, you know, once you get it measured, don't change it. Okay, so where is that going to hit? I want that down a little bit further. I want that down to there. Okay, so I am going to see though if this size piece would fit here, and I can cut my piece. Okay, I know I can cut this piece, this size piece, from this because I've measured. So let's turn that way. But I do need it to be straight to fit across the bottom. Now, if you're a perfectionist and you want to use pins and you want to use your quilting gear, you go right ahead. I have all the quilting gear. I am not digging it out. I am, however, going to grab a pin here because this is starting to wiggle. Now, I haven't even asked you guys how your day's been. Good heavens, I apologize for that. I hope your day's going well. I hope you've had a good week. Whatever day you're seeing this, I hope your weeks are well. And I hope you're enjoying yourself. There we go. I hope you're taking the time out to create and play in your journals, or you're just relaxing with a cup of coffee or a cup of cocoa or tea or whatever you enjoy drinking. There we go. Okay, so there's those two. Now, I need to cut this to the length that I need. So I know, let's measure that. And then we can have all of our cutting done. So I know I want this. Actually, I want it to be the same length as this, because I want them to match. All right, so I need it right here at the bottom of this blue line. Right there. Okay, so I'm done with that. Perfect. Okay, now we can glue our blue in. And I'm done with this little pin. I can just put it, whoops. I can just put our little blue pin, quit sticking to things, up there. Okay. Let's put our sewing scissors away so we're not getting glue on them. Yeah, that broke my heart the other day, you guys, when I told you I had glue on my sewing scissors. It just broke my heart. I had to go clean them. And if you do get glue on your scissors, you can use fingernail polish remover. If you don't have fingernail polish remover in your craft room stash, I highly recommend it. You want to get the kind that has acetone in it. and get a little bag of cotton balls. If you don't like cotton balls, get the little rounds, you know, for removing makeup and things like that. That's what I use because I cannot stand the feel of cotton balls. And use that. They're also a little bit safer, I think, than cotton balls. A little bit easier to handle. And I get my little rounds of, I get my little rounds like that in Walmart in the cosmetic section. And I think there's like 500 of them in a roll. They come in a long, skinny roll like this, and they're all packed together. They're made of like a synthetic cotton. They're really soft and squishy, but they're great for cleaning your scissors, your fingers off, you know, things like that. All right. So the first place you want to start putting this is up here at the top, because you want to make sure it's where you want it, and you want it lined up to the edges. And you're going to see my head here for a second. I apologize, but that's the way these things work. And I need this to come down a smidgen. Okay. Okay. And if you use Fabri-Tac, anything that rubs out, just go like that after it's come out with your fingers, and you'll be able to get it off. Now, you don't want to put that in here right now. I mean, you can if you're covering it one solid piece, you can do that. And I've done that before. Makes your journal feel a little weird, but you can do that. That's why we're going to put our little centerpiece in there to join them really well. Okay. Alrighty. Phew. The smell gets to me after a while. It's a little overwhelming. All right. Again, I'm going to start up here at the top. Now, at this point, I don't have a top. I don't have a bottom of our journal because these fabrics are non-directional. So if you do something and you don't like it, but you go, oh, I like that other side better, then just turn it around. Like this one, I didn't cut straight. See how it's hanging over here? And I'm hanging over up here. And I need to pull it up. So I need to scoot this down. And if I don't get it flattened, I'm going to have a big bump there. Okay, and if you're not flat, take your bone folder and go over it. Like I'm not completely flat here. You can also take your fingers and go over it. And as you can see, I didn't measure this very well. So I can lift this part up right here that isn't down, and I can trim this off with my small scissors. But I do need to wait until this dries, or I'm going to be pulling this all wampadoodled. All right, let's let this dry, and then I'm going to trim this over here. Okay, so in the middle, yeah, I need to trim this. All right, let's go on and trim this. This is going to make me crazy. No, I'm going to use these. Let's use my long skinny. Let's use my long ones. I know, my arm's in your way. Sorry about that. I'm just following the piece that didn't get glued down. And I'm trimming it. Now, if you cut your fabric too short, which is usually what I do, you can correct that. Oh, see, now I'm crooked because I cut that crooked. So over here, I'll add a piece of lace. And I knew I would do that. So I will add a piece of lace over here to correct my second mistake. Ugh. Aggravating. Okay. Remember I told you don't measure one with the other? This is why. Okay, so now for our center pieces. Now, I want to put this piece, I want to measure it with the top. I want it to be the same for the top. Is this the piece? Yeah, I think. Or is this it? I think this is it. I want it to be the same for the top and the bottom. Okay. All right, I need to trim it across the top until it meets. Right there. Okay. There we go. So now this is going to be my centerpiece. And what I wanted to do is see how my lines on my plaid line up. It looks like one whole piece. And I want to take this red strip and, oh, no, this is the red strip. I want to take this red strip and I want to put it right down the middle. Like that. So I want to glue the red on first, and then I'm going to put the blue on. Then I'm going to put them on as one whole piece. Okay? So let's do that. So let's line these up so I can keep them straight. And let's cut off some strings here. Now, I'm leaving those little strings at the top. And I'm going to trim this across the bottom. Like that. Now, I'm not going to put glue in the middle because that's going to be the sewn part. But I am going to put glue across the bottom. Kind of like you do a belly band. You know, how we make belly bands. There. And there. So I want this to be straight. So I'm just going to pull it up straight. Like that. And then I'm going to put this back in my book. And I'm going to line it up back in here where I had it. And I am going to glue it in here. And I'm going to make sure I put some glue in here. Down in my seams. And you are going to need this. So you're going to need your bone folder. And you're going to need your awl. Okay. Or your crocodile or whatever you use to punch your holes. Okay, so I want to line this up so that my fabric lines meet. And I want this centered. Okay. And I want it centered the best I can center it. Come on. Okay, right there. Now, take your bone folder and into here, you're going to go like this. And this doesn't look like it's centered, so I'm going to take that back off for us just a second while I do this. Let's get this straight. That isn't straight. There we go. We'll put that back on in just a second. Okay, you want to get that down into your crevices. So when your book folds, okay, when your book folds, that goes down into the, and we're going to fold those, we're going to glue those down. Don't panic. You just want to make sure that it goes down, that those go down into the into your spine. And the reason I took that out was I couldn't see very well. I'm going to put it back on. I just wanted to be able to see this really well. Okay, so I'm gluing my edges down. Okay, because I don't want them flapping around, but I do want this down. So every time I bend this, I'm making sure that it's down. Okay. Now I can put this back on. I'm kind of using those little threads like a headband. Yeah, now I can't tell where it is. And I got all of this fabric at Joann's, in case anybody is wondering. Okay, so where's my, here it is, right here. Okay. All right, so that's going to get sewn down. So at this point, I've just determined that that's the top of my book. Okay? Those little fluffy doodles, that's the top of my book. So let's get the thread out of there. How about we get some glue off of my fingers? Let's put the pin back in, and I need to wipe that off. All right. Now, we're going to need to designate our holes in here and then get our signatures figured out. Okay. So let me get my ruler and my crocodile. Okay, so I'm going to use, to punch the holes, I'm going to use the Crocodile Big Bite. Okay, and the reason I'm going to use that is because this will allow me to go in all the way into the center of the book. See, it allows me to punch all the way into the center of the book. Now, if you don't have this, don't worry. You can use your awl. Okay, you can use your awl to punch your holes. To do that, you need to make sure that you have something underneath your book that, will keep you from punching into your mat, your table, or whatever it is that you're punching through. So, like, maybe, you know what? I'll use my awl. I'll show you guys how to do it. Like, you don't want to punch through, like I usually use a big book, an old book that I'm not going to use as a journal because it has naughty words, or sometimes I've used an old block of wood that I have, that a friend gave me, or, something like that. Just anything you have that'll keep you from destroying your work surface, because, that's something you don't want to do. You don't want to destroy your work surface. Okay, so this book, the spine of this book is, okay, it's only 1.5 inches wide. So for me, that's a small book. My books are usually about 1.75 inches to 2 inches. And you've seen how chunky my books get. They usually look like this by the time we're done. They usually they're big girls. So I'm thinking no more than 2 signatures in this book. And we're going to make them small signatures because I want to play. So what I want to do in this book is, okay, I want to measure for 2 signatures. So we're going to bring this down on our mat and we're going to line it back up between 2 numbers. Just pick 2 numbers, you guys. It doesn't matter what the numbers are. Now, I want to make sure you can see me. So again, you're going to see my head. So hold on a second. Okay. So down here, again, we're going to use these numbers, okay? So with these numbers, we're going to divide this. And to do that, we're going to use a piece of paper. Easy peasy, no worries, no fussing, no fretting. Let me grab it and I'll show you. Okay, so I cut myself a piece of paper, 1.5 inches wide, okay? So that's all it is. Now, I'm going to measure it to the height of the book. Not any old height. It has to be the height of the inside. Not this height, this height. Okay? And I know this video's getting long. I know. I'm sorry. But I also know you want to get your holes punched. And if you don't, then stop it now and come back. Okay? Now, just tear it off. Tear it off. Alrighty? Now, fold this paper in half this way. Or if you already know how to do this, move on. Okay? That's the center of your paper. right there. Now fold it in half this way. And I'm going to mark this for you in just a minute. Fold it in half this way because you need to know where the center is. Okay. Okay. There's your center. Right there. There's the center. Right there. Okay. That's the center. Now, you're going to put a signature halfway between each of those. Okay. So, take the top and fold it down. There's the center of the top at the top part. Fold up the bottom. Here's the center at the bottom. Okay, there's the center at the bottom portion. Now you know where the center is all the way down your spine. Okay, now you know where the center is. Now where are we going to put our signatures? Fold this side in. Fold this side in. Now remember, we're only putting in 2 signatures. Fold this side in. Okay. Now you know this to here. These are now showing you. Hold on. We got to do the same over here. If you wanted to do 3 signatures in your book, maybe your book's bigger than mine, and you want to do 3 signatures like we normally do. Now you can do 3 signatures. So put a mark here, put a mark here. Now you can do 3. Put a mark here, put a mark here. Look, now you can do 3 signatures. Okay, now you can do 3. Easy peasy. Now, I'm only going to do 2 signatures. So for me, just knowing where my half point is on here, I know that I'm going to do my 2. I'm just doing 2, remember, because my book's going to get pretty big. So I know that for me, that mine aren't going to be, I'm not going to have 3. But I know for an 1.5 inch spine, if I wanted to do 3, I could. They would fit easily. But I would have to lightly decorate it. Well, for me, that's hard. You all know that. For me, that's hard. But maybe we could do that. Maybe we could make the signature smaller. You want to try that? Let's try that. Let's try making our signature smaller. And that way we can decorate more. What do you say? You want to give it a try? I don't know. I've never done that before. This is going to be a whole new experience for me. I've never, ever made smaller signatures. Let me think about this. What could we do? Can I do that? Let me ask myself that question. I don't know. I don't know if I can or not, you guys. Let me look at my books. Yeah, I've done that once or twice. All right, I'm going to give it a try. Okay. I'm going to give it a try. All right, so I like to put mine in there. Okay, so now you have to decide top and bottom. Okay, now if you don't like your signatures up this high or down that low, you just fold it again. Okay, you just fold it again. I don't like my signatures at the top down that low. I like mine up here because, you know, I put bigger things in, and I'm going to designate this the top. Okay, And I don't like mine up that high, but I might. Usually I don't put mine up that high. Okay. So that's how you make it. So the next time we meet, we're going to put our signatures in, because I've got to get the signatures together, and that's what we're going to do. So you guys get your books covered, and then we'll come back and we'll do the signatures. So I want to thank you guys for being with me today, and I want to thank you for spending some time with me and getting our new book covered. We still have our front cover to decorate. And here's some papers I got together for our signatures. So you guys gather some papers, and let's see what we can do to make signatures and to have some fun. There's some coffee dyed papers. There's all kinds of fun stuff. So you guys get your books covered, and then we'll have some fun, and we'll see if we can lightly decorate a book, and we'll have some fun together. And I'll see you next time. Now, don't forget to like and subscribe. You know, that thumbs up that's right down there at the bottom, and subscribe. And then let's have some fun. We'll create a new book, and let's see what all we can do. Let's see what kind of damage we can do to this little girl. And I'll see you the next time here at the Ladybug Journals. So until I do, ta-ta for now.